Hey, welcome back. Weekly Warrior Happy Hour. We're about to make it happen tonight. Okay, so we're live now. We're going to wait till a few more people come on and see what happens. You know, we're going to have this conversation with folks and just, you know, learn about the different journeys people have been on in athletics and their professions. And it should be exciting. So welcome back to the Champions and Legends Weekly Warrior Happy Hour. I'm Uchenna, and the Weekly Warrior Happy Hour really is about bringing together and talking to gym owners, trainers, fitness professionals, pro and amateur athletes, healthcare professionals, and they'll all come on and we talk about their fitness journey. We talk about some of their best practices in preparation, performance, and recovery. And they give us tips on their fitness regimens. And we'll also talk about CBD and how that's played a role in their lives. Now, Champions and Legends produces a hemp-derived CBD-based sports supplements. That's for athletes. Preparation, performance, and recovery is what Champions and Legends is all about. Now, you can also go and get all of these great products for your gym bag at championsandlegends.com. And there you can get all the products as well as the truth about CBD. That's really important because there's a lot of noise out there about CBD, and it's important that you have the truth and are able to use the products right there in the right way for your personal journey, right? So when Champions and Legends launched, we launched our athlete partners, guys that are top of their game and are using the Champions and Legends products for their own athletic journey and being the best version of themselves, which is basically what this is all about. Finding ways to be the best version of ourselves and stay in the game, be at the top of our game every day, okay? Because I think everyone who has a body is an athlete of some sort, whether it's the stresses of corporate life all the way to being a professional athlete. We all have to find ways to elevate our game. And that's what Champions and Legends is all about, giving you the tools to elevate your game to be that best version of yourself. So let's start off with some of our athletes that are on board and using the Champions and Legends product. You guys know James Harrison. James Harrison is a two-time Super Bowler and still a beast in his athletic journey. Then you have next to him Thor Bjornsson, world's strongest man, and the Mountain on Game of Thrones. And he's also breaking records today. He is breaking records right these days. Right now, he's still training hard and maintaining his athletic journey. Then we have Andra and Tommy Caldwell, arguably two of the best rock climbers in the world. Still at the top of their game, still competing and using the Champions and Legends product line. And from the CrossFit space, we have Pat Bellner and Sarah Sigmundsdottir. These two are beasts again in the CrossFit world. And man, they're making things happen. They're making things happen and still competing at the highest level. Now, in honor of the beginning of NFL season, I get to introduce one of our newest partners, our newest partner. And I'm actually excited about this guy because I've seen him for years on television. Let me introduce to you Jay Glazer. Jay Glazer is, thank you, and well, welcome aboard, Jay. And he is 30 years in the sports writing game. He is a favorite, not only amongst the viewers, but he's a favorite with the players. In fact, he's a trusted insider in the NFL, and he's known for breaking some of the biggest news in the NFL. And you're like, oh, that's cool. right? And you're thinking to yourself, that's cool. But where's his personal athleticism? Well, I got news for you. Jay Glazer is a beast in his own right. Now, he trains with MMA fighters. He actually has his own gym, Unbreakable Performance, and he trains off-season professional athletes, keeping them at the top of their game. And I was pleasantly surprised, man, that this dude is really making things happen off the television and being a beast in his own right. I keep using the word beast. I don't know why, but I can't wait to meet him as well. And so welcome, Jay Glazer, to the Champions and Legends team. And we're excited to have you, and we're looking forward to seeing what you come up with as you travel down your athletic journey as well. So welcome aboard, Jay. Now, I'm almost speechless because I get to bring on somebody who I've known for a bunch of years, and I only knew her as a really like a hot mom hanging out with the really cool husband and raising, 3 kids, and they've been friends of mine for years, but I did not know she was a fighter. She was a butt kicker, okay? I'm bringing on Maria here, and again, I'm speechless. I'm speechless because when I see the pictures of her doing her thing, I'm like, what? So anyway, I'm gonna bring her on. Let me introduce you to Maria Mujolet, all right, from Melbourne, Australia. Now we're going all the way to Melbourne to bring her on. So this is, I'm excited about this too, because this will be the farthest I've brought a guest on. And let me see, there she is. And let me check out how things work from here to Melbourne, Australia. So we're waiting for a connection. There she is. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. You got your Dodgers hat on and everything. Okay.
Yeah, it's called Isolation Hair Day, so we had to cover it up.
I hear you. You know, I don't have bad hair days anymore. I just have bad head days. You know, there's no hair to do anything with. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I mean all the way from Melbourne. So you are the guest that's come the farthest way to join the weekly Warrior Happy Hour. And
now I feel more special.
Oh, of course you're special. Of course you're special. Let me just put up the first picture, and we're gonna start talking about it. We're gonna jump right in. Now, okay, when I met you, you know, you were raised in the family. And, you know, you guys just, you know, you're watching reality TV and, you know, just kind of doing your thing. All this time, I did not know you were punching people in the face.
Undercover. Undercover.
Wow. You know, and as pretty as you are, I was just thinking, oh, man, getting hit in the face, you know, but you weren't even worried about that, were you?
Probably the least of my problems, to be quite honest.
Well, tell me about it. Tell me all about that journey. I mean, how did you even get to fighting? Were you doing something else before? You know, just tell me the journey. How did all this happen?
Look, from, I guess, when I started walking, I was active. I was a gymnast in my younger days. So my parents put me into gymnastics, and I exceeded pretty well in that. You know, I always was the advanced child that was, you know, or the girl that was doing, you know, the somersaults and all. So that, it went really well. And it was up until I was asked to go into the Commonwealth Games. And my parents were like, no, we're not sending you, you know, into another state and such. And it just so happened I ended up incurring a back injury with that too. Like there was a lot of stuff going on with my back at such a young age. So my parents pulled me out. And then trying to find another sport, I think it was, look, I grew up, you know, amongst boy cousins and such. So, you know, I love the football and the soccer. And, you know, my mum always told me, you know, you can either choose, I think back then was gymnastics or ballet. And I said, I don't want to do ballet because of the tutu. I don't want to wear a dress. So moving forward, I did tennis and did really well in that. And then I think in between that, I may have had some anger issues because I was banging rackets and, so there was a bit of aggression in there, I think. And so I guess it wasn't until my dad just decided to put me and my brother into some karate, and that was my calling, I think. So I was, doing the karate, and it was fun. I was enjoying this, and just I thought this is a good way to get out, I guess, some anger or something. I mean, I can't really think of what anger I would have had as a child, but
No.
and so from that on, I started becoming more interested in the fighting of things. Like, it was more, wasn't interested in the katas. Like, I loved the discipline of fighting, and loved the advantage of that, and to understand, I guess, the art of karate. Mm-hmm. And so I joined a fighting squad. So the karate club had a fighting squad, and you know what? The rest is probably history from there, because I loved the fighting. I didn't start, so the rankings of, the belts, that kind of sort of stopped, and I just joined this fighting squad. And my brother, like, once he had got his license, he wouldn't take me into the city anymore. So I kind of just sort of like went, well, what am I going to do? And I found a boxer that was close by to my parents' house. And I didn't last long because I started using my legs a lot. So I was there punching, but I always find that my legs were getting the movement too. And he basically said, look, go and find someone who can train kickboxing. So, which I did, and I found that, like I said, that was my calling, and I didn't want to train anymore. I wanted to really, I was enjoying hitting the pads, and it wasn't until I got into some sort of, I won't say a physical fight, on the train once in the city after coming home from work. I was in my corporate suit and kind of got a bit angry at someone on there, and I pretty much from then I've gone, that's it. I think I want to punch people legally, if that kind of.
Love it. Absolutely.
I don't want to go to jail.
Keep it real, baby. That's right. Keep it real.
So, and I wanted a goal. I kind of thought, if I'm training, I want to train and hit a goal and make something at the end of this. Like, if I'm going to training, make it enjoyable, and set myself up to go, well, hey, let's go and fight. And here in Melbourne, there's not many, I mean, back then there wasn't many female fighters, so it was really hard to sort of step up the game with some fights and finding women that were my weight. So I was doing some clubs, like club fighting, and and like I said, from it, that was just really enjoyable for me, and being fit, and I mean, that's probably the fittest I've ever been. Before my fights, I would be training 2 days a week, so I'd get up, run in the morning, and go to work, and then go to the gym for about 2 hours of training. It's a different kind of level of fitness to endure, because I remember my first professional fight, I struggled. I'm not going to lie. It was really hard because, you're doing the sparring and you're hitting pads, but it's a different kind of adrenaline, like going into that ring, because, that girl on the other side, she's not going to say, hey, wait, or I'm not going to say wait because I need to take a breath. You're like fighting for survival in that ring. So,
that's incredible. I mean, I'm going to just go to another picture. I think.
Oh yeah, that was my first. Actually, that was my second fight there. I love that kick.
I'm sure your opponent didn't love that kick. Wow.
That hurt her. That was good.
Nice. And then this other one here where you got a good shot to the mug. Wow.
Mama said knock her out.
Mama said. Wow. Have you knocked anybody out?
I knocked her out. Well, in that fight, I knocked her out the second round, but the bell went, and I was like, man, she had that recovery time. So, I was, thought, you know what, and that was the fittest I had actually been in that fight. So by the third round, or the final round, I knew that I had her, and go hard basically. And she gave me a really nice hook to the head. And I remember like I blacked out. I literally just, I could just, I don't know what, I still remember it was just literally seeing the stars. And I thought, no, you're not getting me. And the fight ended based on that punch, because I think every little bit of, I don't know, adrenaline in me was like, that's it, I'm getting you. And
yeah,
you know, I went straight in there and I was like, 1, 2, and I watched the video still, and her head, you know, her head flicked back quite a few times, and then I grabbed her around and I started uppercutting her, and you know, the ref had just sort of pulled us apart, and she was done. So it was a TKO, and I was so happy, as you could imagine.
Well, I can tell that you still have the fire for this.
Oh, it's there. It's there.
Okay, so what, you know, what, this is an interesting part of the story, because everyone needs to understand what made you stop fighting. What?
It's not what I guess made me stop. It was the situation. So from that fight, I was ready to take the next step to start wanting to do, you know, I said to my trainer, you know, hey, let's get some title fights going. You know, I want to be a Vic champ. You know, I really thought I had it in me to do what it could take to take it to the next level. So, you know, I was pretty much back in the gym about a month later. I took some time off just to recover, and, you know, because like I said, training takes a lot out of you.
Right.
Not that I didn't enjoy it. I just wanted to take some time out, and I went literally back to the gym, trained my butt off, really solid, to get my body back into conditioning, because that is really important. And so I noticed my stomach was starting to get, you know, a bit like, you know, I was, you know, kind of muscly, and I had a nice 6-pack going, and, you know, I was toned, and I noticed my stomach was sort of starting to come out a little as the weeks progressed. And every time I'd go to training, I would say to the girls, or, you know, the boys, like, aim for my stomach, let's condition my stomach. And, you know, I would stand there. I remember that the night in particular was, you know, it was literally a Wednesday night, and I stood there, and this girl was about 20 kilos heavier than me, and she was blowing kicks to my stomach, and we did 100 kicks to the stomach. My trainer, we were doing sit-ups, and so he would kneel, like full on kneel to the stomach to condition, you know, and I'm taking these blows. And I remember coming home that night, and I said to my husband, I said, what is going on with my stomach? Like, I took all these, I'm doing so much training, and I'm eating right. And that night I had a dream that my grandfather, who had been passed away for 20 years, was holding up a pregnancy test.
What?
So the next morning, mind you, the shops were closed, and I went to the footy game, because I love football here, and I went to the footy, and I was like, oh no, I can't be pregnant now. And sure enough,
yeah,
I was pregnant.
Wow. And you were
I was pregnant.
How far along were you? I
was 8 weeks pregnant.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The most crucial time of a pregnancy.
Yes.
Sit-ups, people kicking you in the stomach. I mean, you were fighting this bulge. And nature was going to make that happen. And your child is definitely okay, right?
She's 11 and a half now.
Wow. Well, the journey back. And, you know, I find that very interesting. You know, I got a couple of pictures of you working out at the gym.
Oh, you found some.
You're getting back. Oh, I'll dig. If you don't send it to me, I'll dig and find some pictures now. But now you've been, so okay, so tell me about the last year or so when you were like sort of dealing with, you know, where you were physically. The kids are now to where you can actually start looking at your own journey again. Tell me about that.
So, okay, so my kids are old enough now, so that we've got 8, 9, and 11-year-old, and so much more, a little bit independent. You know, I'm still called upon. So the last year was probably the most interesting and the most difficult year I think I've ever endured in my life. It's, I hit 40 and bang, the anxiety, depression just sort of hit me out of absolutely nowhere. And, it was, like I said, it was a difficult time. And, it's funny in a way because not many people knew about it, but I sort of came out eventually and said, hey, everyone, I have anxiety, I have depression, because I didn't want to suppress it so much because it's such, a topic that never gets discussed. And, and so people would be like, what, Maria has anxiety, depression, you're a fighter, and these were the comments I was getting because physically, the way I look at it now, yes, physically I was strong. And so mentally, I guess it's a different ball game. And, so I thought I was strong, like it's that, that toughness and, that perception people had of me. And, I work as a security guard as a job. So, so it was that, how can she have this? How can she be depressed? And how can she have anxiety?
Right.
And it was, like I said, it was a very difficult time. And I saw darkness, like the light was not there for me. And that fight in me was gone. And my fitness, everything, literally, I can say literally at the window, I could feel my body just weaken. And, because depression and anxiety does that to you. And, I got to a point where I was bedridden for like 2 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I struggled. My husband had to call my mum to come over some days, and just trying to I would only get up in the mornings to see the kids off to school. I couldn't even take my kids to school anymore. The bubbly, the socialness, the everything. It was like I said, it was something. Like I said, going from here to literally, rock bottom is probably what I could call it. I always used to say, when there's nothing under that rock anymore when you've hit rock bottom. So, Was
there a turnaround point, or I got to turn another light on? But go on.
That's okay. The turnaround was, look, I wanted to fight this myself, and I went to the doctor, and he kind of doctors are they're quick to sort of hand over a medication, a drug, to say, here you go, this will kind of help you. And I think by the end of it, I think I kind of sort of gave in and went, hey, let me just try a drug.
Right.
That one tablet I took made me almost suicidal. Like it was
really?
That night. Yeah. That night I was kind of I was in a rage. And so that was my turning point, was that one pill that I attempted to take because I was so desperate to get better. Because, I am that busy mum and off to work and home and, the school drop-offs.
Right.
And so I thought, that's it. I have to find a way to do this on my own. Just start, I was just reading up on stories. I'd find things on people on Instagram and wanting to do, for me, people would say, yeah, it's an imbalance in your brain. And that's what these tablets, I guess, are supposed to do. But for me, I was like, I want to do something. I want something to holistically heal me, because if I take that medication, I'm going to end up dealing with that bigger problem, I guess, later on when I want to come off it. And so I started seeing a psychologist, and she was great. She, she sort of said to me, I'm going to give you the tools to fix yourself. And if you don't get any better, you're going to have to go on medication. Right. So that was the fight in me to go, no, I'm not going on medication. I'm going to do this. And so the psychology, the tools she gave me, I turned to my prayers. Like I pray 5 times a day now. I found just things that for my body and for, my brain to rewire. And then I started looking into CBD, and here in Australia, it's not legal. So it's it's illegal here, and it's so it's very hard to get, I guess, if you wanted to really get it, and very expensive. And so a friend of mine who moved over to New York, he was coming back to Melbourne, and he was able to bring some CBD down here with him. And I can honestly tell you, like, once I started taking it, like in 2 months, wow, did I see such a difference with my body. Just like,
Wow.
I guess relaxing, the anxiety started just sort of, it's like wearing off, and it just puts your whole perception with life and what's going on just so differently, because for me, like, I knew because it was a natural product, it's, the sleep, I was not sleeping, so
Oh,
I
wow.
was able to, it gave me sleep control.
Mm-hmm.
And um you know I was just really sad when the bottle ran out, or the two bottles ran out, and I was like trying to look underneath and try and get any drop I could get, because I couldn't get any more.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Was it was it an oil? Was it a
yeah, an oil.
okay?
It was
Very
an oil. So I just take a morning and night, and and there's some days I would miss, and it didn't. I don't find it's almost like it's embedded in my system now, and it was. I found it to be probably the holy grail of my anxiety, and I reckon if I was to continue on using that, it would have helped me more, as opposed to, okay, I don't have any more. Excuse me. Excuse me.
mm-hmm.
I don't have any more now. And it's like back to the drawing board, and trying to find ways to I didn't want to rely on it so much, but I think it even probably brought my depression more down, because I was so depressed of not
But
having CBD. It's like,
what,
so why are you depressed? Because I don't have CBD.
not for any other reason. Just
Not for any other reason, just
it would actually kickstart. So it was actually a way to kickstart you back into a flow. And
100%.
you mentioned that now you're actually hitting bags again. And
So, yeah. Look, I've come out of it. The depression. Look, I'll be honest with you. Our lockdown here is not helping at all. I'm not sure.
the
I
COVID
think.
situation, yes.
Yeah. So we've got one of the strictest restrictions at the moment of lockdown, where we're not allowed out of the house after 8 p.m. until 5 a.m. We can only be outside for an hour a day, and there's fines
Wow.
that have been issued. Yeah. So gyms and everything's closed, and I mean everything is closed.
Wow, that is serious. Now, on the other side of the coin, I'm in Houston, and nobody is. I mean, people are just breaking all the rules. They're having large groups gathering. I passed by a couple of nightclubs that are open. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
come
No.
on, guys. So I don't know. Do you have the two extremes? Some that here they're not paying attention to the rules, and over there, you guys are like in prison. Wow.
I call it, our homes are a silent prison right now, and people are not realizing what's going on. I mean, I'm all for, like, I personally cannot wear a mask, and we get a fine if we. So the one of the rules is you have to wear a mask once you're outside. So on a beautiful day like today, you see people walking with a mask on.
Yeah.
And I personally can't do it, and medically I can't do it, because I ended up with a bit of vertigo from the anxiety. So that's another story, but I cannot wear a mask, and so gyms are closed. But yesterday we actually got told that the 26th of October they're going to open gyms, because we had one of our owners of a gym here who put a post out, and it's been recognised by Fitness Australia and the government have gone, just for mental health,
Right.
So this was going to be my year to come back and start training, go to the gym, just to get my body moving again, because I feel like the way I've been training and my recovery is very slow, because I haven't trained in a long time, and it's like I feel like I'm new to the whole industry again. And when you see people that have gone to a gym for the first time and the recovery the next day, I'm that person at the moment, because I'm so sore.
Yeah. Well, look, I just feel like when I really, like, I've known you for years, and hearing your story and what you've gone through and the journey that you were on from start to finish is amazing. And
Thank you.
you know, just keep on, because I know you're an inspiration to others. You are an inspiration to others, and the friends that you have that don't know the journey you're on need to know that.
No.
You know,
No one really knew all this.
yes, yes. So my hat's off to you. And if there's anything I can do from my end, I won't say it out loud, but you know,
We'll talk later.
that be done, and we will do what we can from our end to make sure
Thank you.
better and better and better. Say hello to your lovely husband. He's a great guy.
He is.
These days, I'm going to get down there and hang out with you guys physically. All right.
Thank you. We can't wait.
Now, I always have every guest give me a little something. Give me a saying, a quote, a tidbit of advice, so that you know our warriors can have just a little something to take away of inspiration from you, that maybe was passed on by one of your mentors. Lay it on.
Okay, so I guess for us as humans, we need to appreciate our bodies to begin with, no matter what size or anything. And in order to do that, our minds need to be so healthy. And that's something I have learnt, like I said, being the fighter physically. I think within our bodies, within our brains and our heart and our souls, you have to be happy and live that healthy lifestyle, to meditate, I never thought I was going to meditate in my life, but I'm doing it.
Awesome.
So my thing is, you know, healthy mind, healthy household, healthy kids, and healthy mum, because, you know, we as mums are the rock. And so I think, yeah, like I said, just to start getting in tune with your bodies and your minds, and stay strong mentally. And if you can physically, do it.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm going to go hit a bag after this.
Man, I feel like I need to get into the game myself. Well, my heart is truly happy that we got to spend time today. And thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. We'll see you soon. And you take care, all right?
Likewise, you too. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Maria.
Bye.
Well, I tell you what, that was a story, if you've ever heard one. And, you know, Maria is a great mom, great wife, and you watch out, because she hits you in the face, okay? So, you know, I won't hold back anymore, because I know there's another guest waiting in the wings to chat with us. And Alicia's an amazing doctor who has dedicated her life to sports medicine. And she is with one of our largest hospital groups that, you know, that's really leading the way in sports medicine. So without further ado, yes, okay, here we go. There. So I'm going to go pick up Alysia right now. Let's see where we got here. There she is. Boom. All right. Dr. Alysia Robichau. Come on in. Let's see here. I'll try that again. All right. Here she comes. Alysia, doctor, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I just got back from Melbourne, Australia.
Yes.
And she's doing great. And what's funny, it's like her signal was better than your signal. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Welcome aboard. I have this picture of you, a wonderful picture of you. Oh man, her signal is kind of weak. Well, you probably are hearing me do all the talking.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably getting a lot of pull in your house for your signal, and a lot of attention because you got the kids and everybody over there pulling on the internet. So, shoot. All right. Well, anyway, let's see how much better it gets here in a second here. But welcome back. Oh, now it's getting good. Now it's getting really good. Okay, good. So tell me, so let's talk about your athletic journey first, and because becoming a doctor is a whole story. But let's talk about your athletic journey first, because you were a gymnast. Shoot, it's cutting out. Doggone it. Yeah, your signal is bad. Or a signal is bad. I'm not sure whose signal is bad. Oh, really?
Let's see. All right, I'm gonna try to move to a better signal. Let's see. I
Okay.
would love to move to
Yeah.
Melbourne.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, oh, already better. Look at that. Already better.
Is that better?
House, yeah, that's much better. Your house is so well insulated that the signal wasn't getting in. That's much better.
Let me. No, go away. Okay, let me see. Is that better?
Well, I can hear you just fine.
I don't know if that signal's any better.
Well, the sound is better for sure. There you go. Great. Great.
Yep.
So,
Let's see. Figure out
oh,
what
that's
we
good,
need to
Doc. You're good, Doc. Right there. You may just need to stand there for like 10 minutes. That's great. Can you hear me now?
Are we good?
Oh, we're good. We're great. So you were thinking about being a fighter.
Say
So you
again?
were thinking about being a fighter. Oh yeah, you're there. You're good. Yeah. Am I breaking up for you still? I tell you what. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and then I'm going to bring you back on and see what happens. Okay? Just stay on. Well, she's trying to figure it out. I know I just put the invitation back up. Now she is thousands of miles closer, and the signal is worse. She definitely needs to move to Melbourne so that we can have a good signal. Oh, there we go.
Is that any better?
That's great. Awesome. Welcome back.
My husband had to help me apparently because I have to pretend I'm on a Zoom call now.
Ah, very good. Very good. Well,
I'm so sorry. Okay, so you asked me about being a gymnast. So I went to LSU
okay.
and started doing gymnastics when I was 6 or 7, and gymnastics was life. I didn't know any different, and I hurt my feet, and I had these weird bones in my feet, and I met this orthopedic female surgeon and decided, you know what, I really, really want to do that. And so I was better. I got back into gymnastics. I worked and worked and worked and worked, and went to LSU, walked on the team, earned a scholarship, and really worked hard to be part of the team. And as I did that, I really got a really big appreciation for medicine and what I really wanted to do. And I pretty much at that point decided I want to do orthopedics, sports medicine. And, you know, and gymnastics was quite the key. We worked with the college trainers, and we worked with all the other athletes, and it was such a small, tight unit division. And what I was saying earlier is listening to your friend about the fighting. Now it kind of makes me want to try kickboxing and fighting.
Awesome. Awesome.
But, you know, I'm a terrible sparring person, so I would rather kick and run.
Well, then we're in alignment on that. I do not want to get hit in the face. I don't know. I can be hit every else on my body, but do not hit my face. I'm ugly enough as it is.
Well, you know, and funny enough, as a gymnast, you run into things, you drop into things, you crash, you burn. When I was in 7th grade, a very vulnerable, very touchy girl time at 7th grade, I actually ran nose first into the vault and smashed my nose across my entire face. So I took one of those hits, actually, and now I have this really cute little pert nose that grew out. But yeah, we took some battles. You know, I bit through my lip. I slammed into the bars. I fell on my head. You know, we crash and burn all over the place. So gymnastics wasn't a dainty sport by any means.
Well, the final product always looks so great, you know, in the Olympics, everything. I'm like, wow, how do they do that? You know, but there's a lot of training that goes into it. And, you know, you mentioned that you had some injuries during that time. Absolutely. Before you decided to become a doctor. I mean, what was that all about?
You know, I think as a gymnast, you probably hurt just about everything at some point. In high school, the reason I didn't get an athletic scholarship is actually I hurt my wrist for a good period of time. And at that time, since, you know, some of us are a little older, they didn't have all those MRIs and all the fancy equipment to determine what was actually wrong with my wrist. So I actually got kicked out of the gym after my 3rd arm cast, and they're like, you have to go. You can't do handstands on your cast. You have to go. And I think I was 15 at the time, and, you know, gymnastics was everything, and I didn't know how to not be a gymnast. It was my sole identity. You know, and we find, you know, as athletes, when they get hurt, they do get depressed. They do get anxious. They do get agitated. And I definitely went through all of that, and it was so hard. And so I stopped doing my gymnastics for a little while and just kept staying in shape as much as possible. In college, I had some knee injuries, and that took a little while to recover from as well. And you know, in the 1990s and early, you didn't have all these fancy things. You just kind of ice on it and rolled around and hoped for the best.
Yeah, I saw they have some aspirin and call me in the morning, right? Yeah. You know, in fact, I was telling some other people that when I was going through track and field, and you'd have like issues, they used to rub. You know what creosote is? Mm-mm. It's a form of tar that they use for railroad tracks.
Gross.
It's really stinky. It's like garlicky, and it gets into your bloodstream. But I can't see how that was healthy. But that was something that they used back in the day.
Well, they
were yeah, exactly. Yep. So, okay, so moving forward, you transitioned into orthopedic sports medicine. And, you know, injuries. And, you know, I mean, we can talk about injuries all day long. But the question I have for you is really about recovery. Mm-hmm. And what these athletes have to do, because you mentioned, boom, I get injured. I'm depressed. I'm trying to work my way back into the game. But how is it that I'm going to be able to recover when I am leaning on the depression? I'm on the depression train, and I'm not sleeping, and I'm, you know, everything seems to be going wrong, and you're trying to make it better. Tell me a little bit about that journey.
You know, I think the hardest thing for athletes is that athletes like to push through everything. And so we have a lot of different injuries that are due to overtraining. We have injuries due to accidents. We have injuries due to overuse. You know, and so different types of tendon injuries, ligament injuries, mental injuries. All of these things are really common, especially in our elite athletes. One of the biggest things that we talk about is make sure that you get enough rest. Because if your body doesn't have time to recover by sleep, you don't recover. And, you know, the studies pretty much show that athletes in general, everybody else that doesn't get enough rest recovers from injury slower. They have more decreased immune system, so they get sick faster and more frequently. And tendon injuries without proper rest are much slower process. So a lot of those things, if you don't just get basic sleep, that's really, really important. I'm going to apologize because I have this little kitty cat who really, really wants to be in this video. She's trying her hardest. But, you know, so sleep is really, really key. The other big thing is that sleep is different for everybody. I can survive on 4 to 5 hours of sleep because my body was trained to do that. But if I do it longer than 5 days, my husband will definitely say, you need to go sleep. You need a nap. You need to go away. You need to go do something. Because everybody's sleep reset cycle is a little bit different. So there are some athletes who need 9 to 10 hours of sleep every night. Some athletes need 7 to 8. Some get along on 6. You know, I've got all these different style athletes, and some of them are Ironman trainers or golf and all these other things, and they have full-time jobs, you know, and so they have a full day of work, plus they also have their training schedule, and some of this training is 2 to 4 hours, and some of this training is 6 to 8 hours. So recovery time of rest of the muscles, rest of the brain, rest of the sleep in the body, just to kind of reset, is probably one of the most important things. The other really big thing is hydration. I see you drinking your drink, and when I moved, I left my water behind. But, you know, hydration is really key. So many people these days put caffeinated products in their body. They put alcohol in their body, and they put, you know, sodas and just sugary beverages. And not that any one of them is bad, because they're not bad by themselves. It's when you add all of it together that it can be a detriment to the health and to recovery process. So if you have 2 Monster drinks every morning and another one in the afternoon, your body is dependent on that caffeine. And I've got plenty of athletes who drink 2 Monsters or 3 Bangs a day. And I'm like, ooh. Wow. So just drinking 2 glasses of wine at night with dinner, and, you know, drinking a Bang here or there, or 2 or 3 cups of coffee before they go to work, those things will definitely deteriorate your recovery system. So hydration is absolutely important. There's a lot of fruits and vegetables that have water in it. There's water. You know, most of us as physicians, we don't really care if you know, fruit your water. We don't care if you put lemon or lime, or if you put the Mio drops, go for it. If you want to put electrolytes in it, go for it. But the hydration process is so important that if you don't hydrate, your muscles don't have time to recover. The fibers don't have time to recover. The biokinetics of the muscle fibers themselves just don't have the motion to put together recovery and get rid of the lactic acid. So soreness is more common. Muscle fatigue is more common. All of those things are really important. So water and sleep are probably my biggest things. And then the other big one that people forget is stretching. So all of my runners, they're like, yeah, stretch. Okay, 12 miles. I'm like, no, you need to actually stretch. They're like, I did. It was like a minute. No. Stretching is not a minute. So, you know, a lot of our athletes don't train. Even my high school athletes don't train stretching very well. And when you think about it, you've got these kids who are going to school, or they're paying money for a jiu-jitsu class, or they're paying money for cheer class. And the time that they're paying money for is so that they learn the art, not so that they stretch. You know, so the coaches are expecting, you need to stretch before you come to class. I'm not teaching you to stretch.
No.
You need to stretch on your own time afterwards. So muscle recovery, injury recovery, you know, there are some studies here and there that show stretching isn't as helpful.
Right.
And I agree, cold stretching isn't so great. So maybe 15 jumping jacks, 15 high knees, 15 squats, get the body moving, get the blood pumping, then stretch.
Right.
And stretching for 5 to 10 minutes before and after definitely still reduces injury, improves recovery rates, and all of those things. So that's really important, but nobody has time to stretch. I mean, I go for a run with my buddy, and I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go to get my kids. And he's like, you stretch, right? I'm like, yeah.
I'll stretch while I watch TV later on tonight. I'll catch the stretch a little bit later.
Absolutely.
Yeah, someone just wrote something here. I'm not sure. What did that person write?
Be careful. CBD is My girlfriend had a panic attack, something like that. I can't read the rest of it.
Okay.
And I agree. You know, CBD can be tough as a physician. We can't really prescribe CBD, but the things that we see with CBD are actually really pretty awesome. There's a lot of studies. There's a lot of small studies, big studies. So if you take the wrong CBD, yeah, you might get in trouble. But the same thing happens when you smoke the wrong pot, you do the wrong things, you take the wrong medicines. Everybody has the potential of side effects of medicines, but at the same time, when used correctly and using a good product, CBD can be really great. So while it may have caused a panic attack in someone, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cause a panic attack in everyone.
Yeah. And
Lotion,
this person
oil,
said,
yeah,
they puffed multiple marijuanas. We're not talking about marijuana.
that's different.
We're talking about CBD. So, and you're not going to get high from CBD, okay?
No.
And there's not going to be any hallucinations for sure from CBD. Okay, I just had to just make a comment on that because I a little bit of a disconnect on what we're talking about here. So, but yeah, so going back to, the different forms, and I know as a doctor at the hospital, you can't openly endorse anything, but you have seen lots of positive results in many different ways from, you mentioned before, blood flow.
Yeah. And absolutely. I mean, I think one of the biggest things is there's so much new research on CBD in a lot of different options. Muscle recovery is a big one. Anxiety and depression is a real big one. In sports medicine, I do a lot of work with concussions, so brain injuries. And with brain injuries, no concussions the same. There's so, and I think over the last 14 years, I'm getting close to about 15,000 concussion injuries, which is terrifying.
Wow.
The research on CBD recovery and brain injury is phenomenal. And the resumption of normal brain activity and the ability to get back to sport, all of those are things that until there's true proven evidence-based medicine, we can't prescribe it. But a lot of people ask me about those things, and I'm certainly not opposed to it as long as you get a good product. And you guys supply such a good product that it's got research behind it. It's got a lot of those things. There's a handful of products on the market that are not so good. And then there's a handful of products on the market that have had research behind it. There's a few really good products across the nation. This one, obviously, you guys have done a lot of your research with athletes and really looked at pure products and pure supplement to put into the product. And when you use that, then you've got a lot of good pure options to work on improving blood flow and improving muscle return and improving a lot of different things for return to play, for anxiety and depression is a big one. And, as a sports doctor, I see anxiety and depression all day long, whether it's in an athlete or a non-athlete. And that's, especially with COVID, like she was saying, people are lonely, people are sad, people are tired of being locked in. And thank God we're not in Australia right now, but Houston probably should be a little bit more locked in than we are. And that's why we've been a hotspot for so long. But I think, you can look at different things, and somebody asked about CBD and their medications. Each doctor is different. Talking to your physician about CBD oils, whether it's a lotion or a tincture or a product that you use orally, all of those things, we need to look at your medications. If you're on a lot of antidepressants, if you're on a lot of options of anti-anxiety medicines, sometimes we watch this very carefully, because if you're on sedating medicines, then we want to make sure that the CBD oil doesn't interact with that. Not saying that's going to make you tired, but just making sure that we're aware, hey, this patient's going to use some CBD product. If they feel their anxiety and depression is getting better, let's back up on some of those medicines. If you see that they're muscle relaxers, they don't need those as much anymore. They're narcotics. They don't need those as much anymore. There's so many different things that each person actually reacts a little bit differently. So right. There's a blanket prescription, which is the hardest part. There isn't a blanket dose. There isn't, hey, you weigh 55 kilograms, therefore you should take. Right. We have those kind of options. So I think the biggest thing is talk to your physician. Say, I'm interested in taking reduce my anxiety and depression. Do you think that this will be safe? And just make sure you give them the feedback of saying, I'm doing so much better. I don't think I need my Zoloft as much, or I don't think I need the Xanax as often. I feel I don't take it. I used to take it every night before bed. I only twice a month when my in-laws are in town, or when my kids are making me crazy. So these are important, but talking to your physicians or your psychiatrist, whoever is providing your medications about the CBD, is really important. I did have a lady who told me she really wanted to try the CBD gummies that she could get online. And I asked her, she was going to bring down her narcotics. And I said, okay, sounds good. Let me know. And she came back and said, they sucked. I said, okay. I said, so you threw them away? She goes, hell no, I paid for those things. I'm going to eat every damn one of those gummy bears. I said, okay.
Well,
help your pain, but enjoy those gummy bears.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's always some sort of different response. And many times people don't really know what they're actually buying. Just because it says CBD on the label, is it a full spectrum? Is it a broad spectrum? Is it an isolate? Then just because it has a high milligram count, it may be the wrong combination.
Right. Well, if you get it at Shell, if you can get it at Shell gas station, it's probably not your best choice.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, I got CBD. That's funny. I got my CBD at the Windy Mart.
But people tell me this. They're like, you can buy it at the gas station. It's really cheap. I'm like, not good product, man. Can we try something different?
Yeah, let's go somewhere else with that. Yeah. So, but that's awesome. I always, when I get to the end, I ask, is there something you'd like to share with our guests? A little saying, a little something. What the interesting thing is, I got 2 minutes because Instagram cuts you off in an hour. So what do you got?
I don't have any helpful tips. I did tell you my gummy bear story.
Yes.
Well, I will let you know that if you do play basketball without drawers, you miss your shots more frequently.
There you go.
I learned this the hard way.
That's perfect.
I know, so I think wearing underwear is quite key for sports activity. We don't want loose parts. We don't want swinging in the wind, and the accuracy of your precision is better.
And that's why you have the PhD. You see, this is why I have to have professionals on. I appreciate that. But I got to sign off. Thank you so much for your time and energy and spirit. I really appreciate you coming on. And I look forward to seeing with you, enjoying maybe a glass of wine with you and our mutual friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I look forward to it. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank y'all.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, Alysia was great. And I just got to sign off here because today is the first day of football season, NFL, baby. But Champions and Legends produces a hemp-derived CBD-based sports supplement for athletic preparation, performance, and recovery. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay safe and be that best version of yourself. You can do it. Take care, and we'll see you next week on the Weekly Warrior Happy Hour. Cheers.